Hey, welcome to another drop of our Voices, the author series, because it's all about voices of innovation. This is the second edition. It actually comes out July 17th, but I got some advanced copies. So super excited about that. But this is the book that we are promoting, and we're really promoting it for 3 or 4 reasons. The best reason is that all the profits go to help cure cancer. So the introduction is written by Jennifer Fox. She's the CEO of Mary Crowley Cancer Research. It's a stage 1 clinical trials medical center located in Dallas Fort Worth. I'm on the board, so I'd give all the proceeds to that. They do amazing work. And then secondly is the opportunity to share best practices across industry, because a lot of times we're like, hey, why are we so stuck with innovation? Or maybe a boss says, hey, we need to be more innovative, and you're like, well, how do I do that? Well, this book is the answer. So it's really a manual. It's like gives you a framework for innovation. So 8 stages of innovation. We're going to talk about one of them today. And then there's 4 or 5 great examples by people like our guest today, Taya, who's going to share with us what she wrote about and contributed to the book. So with that, welcome to our Voices series edition.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So another great reason that we put the book together, it's also great for the brands of these companies and these health systems all around the world that contributed, and it's great professional development for individuals as well. And I really liked your submission, what you added to the book, because it's in the chapter about use people with IT. A lot of times we focus too much on tech and not enough on people, and sometimes we focus too much on people and not enough tech. So it's really about bringing this sort of balance together. And what you wrote about fit really nicely in there in terms of innovation and practice management, things like that. Can you share a little bit about what your contribution was?
Sure, absolutely. So I think that, it's really all around the use of technology for people that I feel like sometimes avoid technology. And I'm saying that as a convert, right? I used to be in practice management, and I did lots of different facility and center management in healthcare. And there was kind of this feeling like that was us going to the dark side. You can actually see the Darth Vader behind me, but like that's what it felt
Yeah.
like. Like, no, don't use the technology, right? Use our people. Our people know what they're doing. And now that I've elevated out of that role, I've done a lot of consulting. I'm like kind of all over talking about it. More and more, I find people are just not using the technology, and it's advanced so much and can help them so greatly in capturing revenue and managing their facilities and helping with the physicians. And even when they have the technology, they're not using it to the top of what the technology is capable of doing, and they're not connecting it with other things, and they're not being innovative with their workflows in terms of like, okay, if we have the technology doing, let's say, eligibility and benefit verifications, what can our people be doing on top of that, and how can we keep leveling up that collaboration between our people and this technology to keep getting better and better and better? And I think that's just a conversation that's not happening enough.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I love the focus on the book too on the practice management side, because a lot of people have written about what's happening on sort of the broader health system side and hospital side, and not enough focus on the practice side, because obviously it's a critical part of the entire ecosystem, but sometimes ignored. And I realized I was so excited about talking about the book that I forgot to like have you introduce yourself. Can you share a little bit about yourself with our audience?
Sure, sure. So my name's Taya Gordon. And so I started out, actually, as a first responder, and I quickly realized I did not have the constitution to do patient-facing care. Lots of tears, and I was much better in the administrative side. And I think that there's a misconception that people don't want to help as much. But they truly do. And I think this book is really reflective of that. But so I escalated up out of there, kept working in practice management for a while, then shifted into consulting. I had my own business until COVID. And then when COVID hit, I kind of was like, yeah, it's time to probably pair up with somebody else. And I took that opportunity then to pair up with a technology company. And so it's kind of this new beautiful merger that I'm working in now. I think most people know me for revenue cycle management. It's kind of the thing I don't shut up about. I have a podcast, I've written books, I do speaking all over. But I think what I'm really trying to bring right now is this conversation about revenue cycle and technology. And so I'm personally in this really cool space where I get to see us create technology for revenue cycle management and for practice management support and for patient outreach support. And I like to see how that happens from a creative perspective. But I'm also so intrigued at talking to individuals about, why they're adverse to the use of technology. And to your point, most of my experience has been in the private practice space. I believe that there's such a beautiful need for all of those sizes, right? We need private practices, we need rural hospitals, we need big hospitals, we need them all, and we need them all to coexist. And the best way for them to coexist is through the greater use of technology and communication and sharing of information. And so I was 100% super excited when there was a second edition of the book coming out.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you being in both the first edition and second. And like I said, the things that you talk about are really key, and I love the whole practice management angle, and you talk about AI as well, which was pretty forward thinking. Now it's all the rage for sure. So tell us about your podcast and how people might hear more about you in your philosophies and the things that you do.
Oh, sure. So our podcast is all about revenue cycle management. It's called Rev Dive. And it was really one of these things that spurned out of the pandemic. I was on the phone with a colleague of mine who is at Slice of Healthcare. He owns Slice of Healthcare. And he said, if you had a podcast, what would you talk about? And I was very like soapbox moment. I'm like, it would be for the people. It would be by the people. It would be all about revenue cycle for revenue cycle folks. And he's like, all right, let's do it. Let's put it out there. I often tell people I just don't shut up about revenue cycle management, which is why I have all of the, the book, the podcast, whatever. But mostly what we're talking about is like, how can we drive more solutions? How can we make sure people are getting paid the way they're supposed to be paid and as soon as they're supposed to be getting paid? And I think one of the things that I didn't realize until you and I were talking about this author series is how many of those conversations surround technology experts and how many technology experts we have that are talking about different solutions and things like that. Notably, we don't allow any sales on there at all, right? Like this, obviously, this is to talk about the book, right?
Yeah.
But on ours, we're like, hey, don't come on here and sell your technology.
Right.
That's not what this is about. But it's interesting because we have people from like AAPC on the phone talking about coding changes and so it's not necessarily, your go-to, wow, this is my drama-filled crime series or something, right? But it is genuinely something that helps them in their day-to-day, which I love. And we just found out recently that most of the listeners listen on their way to work or on the way home, so they can get some nuggets for the day, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, it's better than listening to the same old music sometimes on the radio, but you're super practical, and that's what you'll find in your submission and really the whole book. So super practical. So coming out July 17th, I will drop in the comment section how to order. You can pre-order now. There's a discount from the publisher, and we would love for you to read it because, again, it helps raise money to cure cancer. And it's just a great benefit to, I think, our whole ecosystem, like we're talking about, like how do you innovate and really maximize all these technology investments to ultimately become more efficient on the business side, but also save more lives. So thank you again for being part of this series.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have been included. Thank you.